start from an energetic perspective. Look inside, look at your business. What do you want to protect most? If it's your name, if you're like, I just really love my name and I don't want that to change and I don't want someone to take it, then start with a trademark.
Yeah.
Like energetically align yourself with where you want to start in legal, but just start somewhere.
It's time to stop spinning your wheels, wasting time, money, and energy building your brand alone on social media. Hi, I'm Sophia Spallino, the host of Social Equity, the podcast, here to help you build your own profitable personal brand, the social equity you can rely on to make the money that you deserve. Are you ready, Miss Future Millionaire? Let's get into it. Hello, my beautiful queer entrepreneurs and allies. Welcome back to Social Equity. I have a little question for you today, an important question for you today. Is your business legally legit? No, really. I want you to pause and make sure that you are prepared. Is your business legally legit? Do you have the right contracts in place? Are you protecting your intellectual property? If you're a coach or service providing entrepreneur, buckle up. Natalie Puglisi is an online business attorney. I'm going to look up and read her bio right here, who's passionate about helping female entrepreneurs get their legal in order without all of the fluff and confusion. As a first-generation American and a woman in a male-dominated field, we love to see it. Natalie understands what it's like and feels what it's like to start from the bottom, and she strives to empower other women around the world to secure their brands and businesses so we can all grow together. Natalie, I'm so glad that you're here. I love having my lawyer friends jump in and share, and everyone out there who is building their business, maybe you are just starting your coaching business or you're leveling up, you've got to listen. Welcome.
Hi, so good to see you.
It's so good to see you. Oh my gosh, is this your daughter's art in the background?
Yeah. Yes, this is our artwork. She makes these paintings of cats or pictures of cats, and then we just put them all over the house. So They're everywhere. They're in my bedroom, although we do actually have some artwork up there too, but
it's magical. So you are running a full big business, legal business, and you're a full-time mama.
And an art dealer, apparently.
An art dealer? I love it. Add it to the list. Add it to the list. Wow. Okay. So I want to hear your story. First generation American to building your business that helps women. Tell me how did you get here?
Gosh. So I have a father from Belgium and a mother from Guatemala, two of the smallest countries on the planet. And they just happened to meet where I live right now in Santa Barbara. And they fell in love. They met, and 3 months later my mom's student visa was going to expire, so my dad proposed and she said yes, and that was kind of like it for them. It was crazy. They had a crazy love story, and I always knew I wanted to be an attorney. You know, like when you're a kid and people are like, oh, I want to be like a fairy or a doctor or whatever, I always said attorney, and I just kind of knew that was my path. It's weird because I was never really a spiritual person until I got pregnant with my daughter. And looking back at how I felt back then, that knowing, that like confidence in that was my intuition the whole entire time. And I literally had no idea. So I went to law school. I worked 40 hours a week at the same time and lived at home with my parents. And I was working at a small local bankruptcy law firm at the time. And they ended up hiring me when I passed the bar. And it was really wonderful. I really, really loved that area of law, to be completely honest. I loved just helping people. It was helping people that really like just struck me. I would get so many different cards and emails from people like, I can sleep at night now, I can focus on my family, you know, all of that stuff. And that's really kind of what drew me to doing what I'm doing in the area of law now. So I a while, like, a while into working for them, they approached me and they're like, we're preparing for retirement. And so you're going to have to find another job.
Oh, wow.
And I was gutted because I was so close with them and it was a really small firm. And I literally didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah.
So I just branched out on my own. I met my husband like 2 weeks later, and he's a serial entrepreneur.
Oh my God. Can we
Um,
pause real quick? Like, you literally got laid off and you think, oh my God, what am I going to do? And this is your pivot moment.
right,
Like this was
exactly.
your setup. I literally just got off a call with someone. This is so weird. Like, God is so good. It's so weird. Like, we were just talking about this. Like, these are those moments in life, and you met your husband 2 weeks later. Like, so
Yes,
many good things.
exactly. Yeah,
Ah,
exactly. It was so weird. And I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. My dad was an entrepreneur. My mom was a 9 to 5er. And I literally would watch her like get ready in the morning and like put on her lipstick and blow dry her hair. And I was like, that's so romantic. Like, that's what I want to do. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. But my husband, that's like all he's ever done.
yeah.
So meeting him was so inspiring because he's back there. He really guided me and helped me. I owe a lot to him in terms of jumping in and becoming my own entrepreneur because I really didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so we found a large part of the time that we would have friends and family that were like, can we take you out to dinner and like pick your legal brain and pick his entrepreneurial brain? Like I have an idea. And it dawned on me that there just wasn't enough legal education out there in terms of setting up a business. And I actually didn't even know. When I opened up my own firm, I was like, do I need a business license? I guess I need a website. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so really understanding that there was this need out there set the tone for starting my own business and pivoting into the online space and really providing education, especially from a female perspective. My, like, being in the legal field is such a male dominated field.
Yeah.
And even today, it's wild.
It
There's
is.
so many, we're just not treated with the same respect and level. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I passed the same bar that you did. And pretty sure I do
Yeah.
the same level of work that you do.
I have a few friends who are attorneys, and they all share the same experience. They're like, we have to dress a certain way to be respected. It's wild. Oh
Yeah.
man, but I love that you are talking about like how your husband helped you. And I think it's so amazing to honor our partners with our words and just be like, look, I wouldn't be here without you. Or even if you're single like me, like I have a co-pilot in my life, I have a work wife, and I'm like, I would not be like doing things at this capacity without her. And there's just so much power in that and celebrating each other. And then, like you said, people were picking your brain. You started doing exactly what you were already good at. You just didn't even realize that you were turning it into a business. And then you've blown up. Is this something that you do with ads, or do you keep it organic marketing only?
I keep it organic. I mean, I
Love
think
it.
at some point I will run ads, but ads kind of scare me a little bit.
No, there's no point to have them, at least not right now in 2024. Might be a different story 2026, but right now that's what I teach, that organic strategy. And I love how you show up so authentically as a mom. You show up with or without makeup. Like you're
Yeah.
just so just rocking and sharing your life. And I think that's why people come in and they trust you. Like you're like, oh, it's this much. I'm like, okay, take my money. Like I know you're gonna get the job done for me.
Well,
So
I think the thing is too that like I so relate to my clients from so many different levels, being an entrepreneur, being a mother, but not only that, like I said, when I started my firm, I had no idea what I was doing. They don't teach you
mhm.
practical business law in law
No.
school at all. And so I had to figure that all out on my own. So when I tell my
Awesome.
clients, look, I know where you're coming from, I literally
Yeah.
do. I built my first website because I didn't want to spend the money on a website. And I was my own social media manager until I had to hire help to help me, create posts and help me guide me on reels. Like I understand where people are coming from because I was literally there too. I didn't pop out of law school and became, there's a large part of online attorneys that are starting this from like they exit
Yeah.
law school and this is what they do. And I didn't do that. And so I really, really, really relate to my clients on in that level.
Yeah, it's sounds like you've built this strong connection because you've got one, the personal brand where people are like knowing and trusting you. And two, you're like, hey, I started at the bottom. Now I'm here. Like
Yeah.
I have to do this too. So where does someone actually start when they build a business, or maybe they've had a business for a while, but they're like, I'm going all in on my business. I need to know, like, what's the first step legally?
Yeah.
What are the things I need to protect? What does that look like?
So that's a really great question. I love it when people ask me this because people think of getting their legal in order like layers of a cake, right? First I do this, then I do this, and I encourage people to think of law like what I call the legal wall, right? Sections of a wall that are protecting and are a boundary around your business. And there's different sections that protect in different ways. So when you have an LLC, which I recommend everyone get at some point in time, then you are going to be protecting yourself on a personal level, right? Your LLC is a barrier to create a separation between yourself and your business. Your trademarks and copyrights are protecting your intellectual property, and then your contracts are protecting your interactions with your clients and customers. And they all do different things, and you don't have to start in some place. And I tell people two things. Number one, start where the money serves you, because they all cost different things, right? You can get a template, and maybe that's like in your financial budget right now is to get a template for a one-on-one contract, and you just start there, but start somewhere. And then the
Yeah.
other thing I like to tell people is start from an energetic perspective.
Mm.
Look inside, look at your business. What do you want to protect most? If it's your name, if you're like, I just really love my name and I don't want that to change and I don't want someone to take it, then start with a trademark.
Yeah.
Like energetically align yourself with where you want to start in legal, but just start somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love this. I feel so good having my trademarks. I just got 6 of them and
I
or
love
5
that.
of them, and I'm so freaking pumped about it. So it just feels very I can take a deep breath because as entrepreneurs, this is our art that we're talking about. Even if you are a coach, it's like these are my creative things. This is for me, I use music for people to reach me. I use my story for people to reach me and learn about me. So when someone comes into a program, that's me expressing my life's work. And it's incredibly close to my heart. I don't want anyone taking the art. Oh, we've got a question from Peace. Does sending yourself a letter to your own home address via the local post office, does that count as a copyright?
It doesn't. That's
Okay.
such a, or like a poor man's patent is what they call it as well. No, unfortunately, these days you do have to go through formal legal processes if you want to get a copyright, a trademark, or a patent.
Okay.
There's
You know
really
what?
no way around it.
I've never asked because I have my music out there being streamed. Like, should you copyright the music?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So when you copyright any, so copyrights cover any original work of art. So that could be music, videos, audio, like people don't realize, but if you create like a unique little like sound bite, that's protected by a copyright. If you are a coach and you have slide decks or videos or trainings that are part of a course, that can be protected by a copyright. And essentially, without a copyright, we all know that you can't like use your music and pretend like I'm not going to put it up on my page and say, oh, look at the song that I did. You know what I mean?
Right.
We all know that that's wrong, but enforcing someone to not use it without your permission is a totally different thing. So if someone else was using your song in like a bit that they had and you kept on asking them, hey, could you take it down? Hey, could you not use it? That's really kind of the extent of what you can do without a copyright. A
Okay.
copyright and a trademark are going to allow you to threaten a lawsuit, which I'm not advocating suing anyone, but it's really going to pack the punch in terms of having someone take it down.
Yeah.
Because without a copyright, you can't really enforce them from not using it without your permission, right? Without a copyright or a trademark. You can just ask over and over and over and over. Plus, a copyright and a trademark are really kind of a formal declaration that you're the owner of that name or that work. So
Okay.
yeah, I would recommend at some point you get your songs, and it's such an easy process and it's so much faster than a trademark. It's like 3 months
Oh,
and it's
really?
so inexpensive. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Definitely worth
Interesting.
it.
Because in my head, I'm like, there's certain things that I want people to use, and I want them to use it in all their content, right? Like my music. but my name, my podcast name, my courses, if someone uses that, I'm coming after
Yeah.
you.
But
So,
the thing about even your music, and I get that because right, people use it and it creates exposure for yourself. And I'm sure that's part of what you talk about in your courses as well, is like how to create exposure for your brand.
yeah.
And certainly that is that. But having a copyright, even if you don't mind people using it, having a copyright is the ultimate way to have control over that.
Yeah.
Because right now, someone's using it on a reel, it's great. But if someone's using it for an ad and they're not paying you for it, and that ad is either number one, generating a ton of income for them, or number two, it's not something that you're in alignment with, then you're going to want to, have a way to control that.
Yeah. No, it would be, yeah, I would never want someone using something that I've created that's for something that I don't agree with or out of alignment with, or like twisting the original
Right.
sacred message that I
Or
have.
using a
Yeah.
bite, or using a sound bite from it and creating their own song with it or whatever.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, thank you for that clarity.
Yeah.
So, if someone's just getting started and they need those templates, that is something that you provide, right? So, if like you have your first one-on-one coaching client or you have your first group program, do you provide a template for both group and one-on-one?
Yeah. So I provide templates for one-on-one. I provide templates for group, which is called the terms of use. And that's that little checkbox that you check whenever you purchase anything online that's a digital product. If you have a physical product, that's called a terms of service. I have those too. And then if you have a website, there are certain legal documents that you have to have on your website too. So the first is a privacy policy, legally required. You don't get credit for trying. So you could face penalties and fines if you don't have the right legal language in there. So I never recommend that someone get them from, Squarespace or whatever. Besides, when you get them from there, then they always have a little line that says replace this with one that's drafted by an attorney anyways. But a disclaimer on your website's really good to have too, that lets everyone know, hey, everything on my site is for general informational purposes only. I'm not diagnosing, treating, curing anything, giving any legal or financial advice. And even if you're like a business coach and you think, oh, I don't really need a disclaimer because I'm not talking about medical stuff. If you're telling people how to invest in their business, then technically you're giving financial advice. And so a disclaimer is really important to have. And also, let's just CYA and like protect ourselves everywhere,
Yeah. I'm
Um,
like, I think I have that in mind, but I want to go check. I'm writing it down. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure we made sure that's there, but
And
now I'm like, let's push
then
that.
your terms and conditions is your last one. And that's just your content protection. It's letting people know, hey, everything on my site is mine. You can't use it without my express written permission. And I provide templates for all of those and I bundle them so you can save. And there's payment plans and all the fun things. I try to make it as accessible to everyone so that it's super easy and you can just get it done, slap it up there and use it with your clients and not have to worry about it. So
I love it. So before I met you, I didn't realize that there were lawyers like Natalie Puglisi who has beautiful templates for coaches. I had no idea. And so I spent so much time with a lawyer friend going back and forth before I had the money to invest, trying to get it right. And it's just so like the amount of time I spent doing it for free with somebody. Oh my gosh. Like I can't even imagine. Are you comfortable talking about the prices of your templates here?
yeah. So my biggest bundle that I have is $9.97 and it's everything. So it's the website documents, one-on-one client agreement, a testimonial release, and then a group coaching agreement, which is called a terms of use. And there's a payment plan. It's 3 payments of $333. Super easy. Literally takes you 20 minutes. I have a customization option that I never sell people because I'm not a used car salesman kind of attorney, but I'm like, open them. They're easy. If you really need help, then come back and tell me. But other than that, you can literally just do it yourself within 20 minutes. It's like bold language, insert business name here, insert support email here.
I love it.
Super easy. Yeah.
Thank you for creating this. Gonna save people so much time compared to how I did it years ago. Okay, Kay says, what would you do if someone started using some of your stuff and they're in another country and they refuse to take it down? What is the practice there?
It depends on whether or not it's a trademark or a copyright. Trademarks protect names in your business. So podcast name, business name, course name, program name, all that fun stuff. If you have a registered trademark in the US, that doesn't prevent someone from using that name in another country. You would have to file trademarks in other countries. And other countries have very complicated processes for how to do that. I have a client that filed a trademark in Australia, and you have to have a representative in Australia in order to do that process.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so you would have to file separate trademarks in separate countries for your names to protect it that way. That's a common misconception because people will file a trademark here and then they see someone in the UK that's using the same podcast name, and we're so global now that I've looked at buying courses from people that are in Canada or in the
Yeah.
UK, and the content's good. The content is the same. The concepts are the same. So really filing in different countries is kind of the only way that you can protect yourself there.
I see. And at a certain level, like when you're just getting started, I know for me, even at my level, I'm not going to go file in every country in the world. That to me would just be frivolous and wasteful.
Yeah.
But protecting yourself in America, if you're American, so important because people love frivolous lawsuits in America.
Yeah, they really do. It's pretty wild. And I hate that culture. And I think that also really gives attorneys a bad name because sometimes we have to represent clients that are on the wrong side of the line, or not necessarily every attorney. I certainly, have clients that I hold in high standards as well. But there are attorneys that do, and I think we get a bad rap for that because people really do sue for the wrong reasons.
Oh yeah, where I live in the South, like billboard attorneys run the world, and that's like everyone just like sues. It's just ridiculous. So
That's crazy.
definitely make sure that I'm fully covered. Kay also says, isn't the state laws different in different states? So aren't the state laws different in different states in terms of trademark and copyright, or is it the same across America?
So you can file for a state trademark if you are using that name only in that state. So for example, let's say you ran a pizza shop and it was like Dino's Pizza, and you had, a whole bunch of them in Arizona, but that was the only location. You could file for a state trademark in Arizona and prevent anyone else from using either that name or a substantially similar name or spelled differently or whatever it is, but that would only protect you in that specific state. When you file for a federal trademark or a copyright, which is federal, then it protects you in all 50 states. And those laws, when you get a federal trademark or a federal copyright, they span over every state. So really, yeah, I mean, if you're in the online space, period, then you qualify for a federal trademark or a copyright. So I would just always shoot for the moon and get a federal and not even waste your time with the state.
I agree. I'm like, if you're online in any capacity, because I'm serving everyone here. Amanda says, I formed an LLC for a business name I want to change. Is it something I can change the name of, or do I need to file a new LLC?
It depends on your state. So most states allow you to change the name of your LLC. Oh, you're welcome, Kay, for answering your questions. However, you don't really need to change the name. I mean, it depends, right? Like if you have a trademark and you want it to, match with your trademark, but your LLC name is really kind of just between you and your Secretary of State. So if obviously I have a PC, it's Natalie Puglisi PC, but I also have a podcast, the Legal Babe podcast. I have a society that's a legal membership, the Legal Babe Society. I would have a DBA for those. So you don't necessarily, I don't have like a separate LLC that's the Legal Babe LLC. So you really don't need to change your name necessarily, but it should be a pretty easy process. Most states allow you to just change the name. It's just a form that you fill out, but I don't think you really don't need to. But if you wanted to, if it bugs you, then go for it.
So would you change your doing business as name on the Secretary of State website? Is that?
No. So your DBA is actually a local filing. So you would do it in the city that you live in.
Okay.
Which is a little confusing, and that's kind of a process. That's not really a fun thing to do, but it just, you have to like publish it in a newspaper for 4 times a week apart. And then they give you a certificate and then you go and give it back to the business office and it's just like a pain.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's intense. That's why for me, I just did it under my name because it's like
Same.
everything will fall under there.
Right, exactly.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm so glad you guys have dropped such good
Yeah,
questions.
these
Okay,
are great
what
questions.
what is the best case you can share with us where like you're so glad someone had protection and came to you, and how it helped them?
Yeah,
Because I think we all need to hear like what potentially could happen.
yeah. I mean, so really there's two examples that I can think of. The first thing is with contracts. I have a client who didn't have the right refund language in her contract. She actually got her contracts from her coach, which is also a no-no, but she borrowed her contracts from her coach and who let her have them, which is technically illegal because we create contracts as attorney. They belong to us in terms of a copyright protection. So you do need permission from an attorney if you're going to be sharing those contracts with a friend or someone else. And that contract didn't have the right language in it in terms of a refund. And she had to refund this client like $5,000 or something pretty significant to her at the time. She was just starting out in her business.
Wow.
And then the attorney that drafted that contract found out about it because she went to them and said, "Hey, can I have you help me amend this contract?" And she said, "Well, that's my contract, and I'm pretty sure you're not my client." So she threatened to sue her because she had taken her contract without her permission.
Oh no, and she
Yeah,
didn't even mean to.
she
Oh
didn't even
no.
mean to. She had no idea. And most people don't, right? But if you think about like, you're not going to go on someone's blog post, copy their blog, and pretend that you wrote it. It's the same thing with contracts. You do need to buy them from an attorney and or have um, license from an attorney or the person. Like a lot of times coaches will get contracts and they have license to share them with people. And that's kind of the way to do it. So, having the right refund language is really important in there and just having a refund language at all. A lot of part of the time, if we're digital entrepreneurs, we don't have a refund policy, right? We provide you with the course, you get access to the course, you don't get your money back. It's not like a t-shirt, you can't just return it.
Yeah.
And she just didn't have the right language in there. So, and then the other one that I see a lot is with trademarks. I mean, you're so savvy in terms of getting your trademarks done at an early stage of your business. And a lot of people don't because they think it's too expensive or it's too confusing or I don't know if I'm going to love my name or and those are all totally valid concerns, right? I totally get that. I have delayed on spending money in my business too because I didn't want to. I didn't have the funds at the moment or I didn't prioritize it.
Yeah.
But then what happens is I had a coach she's a really big coach. She's got a huge following. She makes God 6 figures a month. And she approached me and she said, "Okay, I'm finally ready to do a trademark." Well, she created this course 5, 6 years ago. And by the time we looked it up, someone else already had the trademark. And so she had to change her name. She had to rebrand. She was known for that course. She was known for that name. She was known for that thing. And she had to end up rebranding. And that was so unfortunate because it didn't just cost her the cost of the trademark, which we filed a new one. She's got a new name. Everything's all good, but the cost of the rebranding
Yeah.
and also the brand identification, right? Everybody knew for her for this specific course, and now it belongs to somebody else. So,
Yeah. No, and that's a worst nightmare. My God. Oh, well, I'm glad that I've got myself
yeah, you're
covered.
good.
Yes, everyone else out there, if you're not covered, talk to Natalie. Just drop her a DM, see how she can help you because you don't want to wait until that could happen. We've got a question that says, how long do trademarks last?
That's a great question. Potentially forever,
I
which
love
is
it.
great. If you're using a name, so once you file for a trademark at like 5, 6 years, and then again at 10 years, they ask you to resubmit evidence that you're still using it because obviously they want you to file for a trademark and then you're not using the name anymore and someone else could potentially be using it, right? So at that point in time, you just re-upload evidence of use and then you have to do it every 10 years. And as long as you're using the name, then potentially forever. I mean, which is great. You're really getting a lot for your money in terms of a trademark.
I love to hear it. Thank you for sharing all this information. I didn't realize we'd have so many questions. It just goes to show you that we've got some smart women here who know they need to take care of themselves. Thank you, Natalie and Sophia. The timing of this is so perfect and helpful. I'm dropping this knowledge and demystifying the process. Oh,
Yeah, that's the point. I really pride myself on providing a lot. I don't just do reels that are like selling, or I don't show you a ton of fluff photos of like my family. Not that I
yeah,
don't want to, but for me, it's really about educating and exactly that, demystifying and providing legal education in a way that's really easy to understand.
yeah.
So that's if you go to my Instagram profile, then you'll see that almost every single post has a lot of really valuable information in it. So I hope that's helpful for people. And then the last thing I want to mention,
Yeah.
if you are serious about filing for a trademark, I am running a special right now,
Ooh,
very
let's hear it.
timely, $500
Wow.
off. And you can send me a DM and I can send you a link and we can talk about it. So
That's a huge chunk. Like that
yeah,
is a huge chunk.
yeah,
Wow. Okay, y'all jump on that. I know for me, like I did so many of them and it was like a huge chunk of change at one time because I did so many at one time. But
yeah.
$500 off, like that's amazing. Jump on it for sure. Thank you for taking time to be here
Yeah.
and like she said, demystifying it because this is something that I delayed for such a long time. And I'm so grateful. Even my name right now, like Sophia Spallino, is I'm about to be awarded that trademark. And
That's
it's like,
so great.
yeah, it feels so good to have that security. And
Yeah.
I think it's so like great when we can operate in our businesses from a place of stability and like we know we're safe, we know we're doing the things to keep us safe, risk averse, always having the contracts in place.
Peace of
Thank you
mind.
for what is it?
Peace of mind.
Yes, peace of mind. And also, one thing that's you might not realize energetically in your business, but like the fear of being seen, because you're like, oh, someone might want to take this. And then that kind of stunts your social media growth because you don't want to share it and shout it from the rooftops. But when you own it, you're empowered and something just feels like very safe in your nervous system to shout it from the rooftops. Like, this is who I am. This is what I've done. This is mine. And it could
Yeah,
be yours if
absolutely.
you pay me for it.
Yeah. Well, I like to tell people that too. Like, legal really gives you a lot of confidence in your business. And from an energetic perspective, just like you just said, you're letting the universe know that you're ready to play big. And you can go out
Yes.
there, especially from a trademark perspective, you can talk about your course without worrying about someone stealing your name, right? You can interact with your clients without worrying about having to refund them if they're not eligible for it, right? It really creates a lot of confidence. And from an energetic perspective, like I said, you're ready. You're just letting the universe know, I'm here, I'm playing big, I got my S in order, and let's do it.
Amen. Yeah. Amanda says that's so accurate. I subconsciously have been in that place. Yeah. I
We
think
all
we do
have.
that in so many different areas of life. Or like, oh, I'm afraid to make this move because this thing's not there. And it's like if you have the stone in place, you can confidently like step on each stepping stone. And if you're ready to trademark and get serious and get those contracts in place, go ahead and DM Natalie. She's got that $500 off. For everyone listening on the podcast, if it's a later time, how long do they have to get that $500 off? And still, they would just DM you on Instagram, right?
Yeah, so the $500 off is good until the 15th, and then it drops down, and then I think it's like $300 off after that. And it's not like people hear $500 off, at least I do sometimes, and I'm like, well, how much is it? The 500? It's $500 off makes it 2,000. And
Okay.
there
Okay.
is a payment plan, so it's not like $500 off of 50,000 or anything like that. So
Yes.
it is a significant discount. So
And there are people who are like, oh, but I could file it myself. And I researched this and I was like, not doing it that way. Can you explain why, from a lawyer's perspective, why not? Because, like, it just seemed like such a headache to me.
totally could. It's not a process that you need an attorney to file for, but it is a process that I recommend you hire an attorney for. And I certainly don't recommend that you use one of those online services because they can scam you. I've had clients that come to me and they're like, oh, I have a client that came to me, she filed a trademark with an online service and then a second one with me. And she said, she came to me, well, the online service says I have to now file this in all 50 states. Am I going to have to do this in our trademark too? And I'm like, that's not actually a thing, and you almost dropped $4,500 doing that with
Oh
them.
my
Yeah. They're
gosh.
total scams. Don't use an online service. They're total scams. And doing it yourself, although it's possible, there is a lot of legal research and legal argument that can be involved in a trademark.
Yeah.
90% of the time, you get what's called an office action, which is something from the USPTO that says that something needs to be addressed. And majority of the time, that involves legal argument. So you could spend a ton of time and figure it out, but it's kind of like going to a doctor. Like, I wouldn't do surgery on myself, even though I'm probably capable of like sewing up a stitch, but
Yeah.
I just wouldn't do it. Right. So you could do it. I don't recommend doing it. I get a lot of clients that come to me and they're like, I filed and now there's a problem and what do I do? Or I get a lot of clients that just don't get a registration. We filed together and then it passes. So
Ah,
there is legal strategy, there is legal argument involved. It is still a legal process, and the USPTO does not guide you or help you, or they are not there to help you along the process or tell you how to figure out the documents. And so,
and I'll
if
tell you
you
what,
want it
it's
done and you want it
nice.
done right.
Yeah, and it's nice to have a lawyer friend that's already done it for you. And then if you need to send a cease and desist or anything like that, like you have someone to go to
Right,
that's on your
exactly.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean,
I
we've all
freaking
been there in our businesses where we've tried to do something that we don't have the expertise. I'm the same way, right? Like, I tried to build my website, and looking back at it, I'm like, I should have just all the time that I spent trying to do it and figure it all out. I could have just hired someone and it would have been
yeah.
so much better. You learn and you grow in your business. And now I don't do anything that's outside my wheelhouse. I just hire someone to do it because I know better.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to tell everyone here who's listening from your audience, if you haven't met me before, I'm Sophia Spallino. I am an entrepreneur that helps women build their businesses and their brands online. So if you've come to Natalie and you've got a course, but you're struggling to sell it and you don't know how to sell more or grow your following to get that visibility, that is what I specialize in. Help women around the world do this. I've got a coaching program that will change your entire life. And if you're curious about what it would look like to work with me, my clients see results like thousands of more dollars within 2 weeks of working with me if they already have businesses in place. And if they've never built a business before, they will have a profitable personal brand in 6 months or less. Just shoot me a DM because I will send you a free training, the kind of free training I wish I had. It literally gives you, like Natalie just shared, you could do it on your own if you followed everything in my free training. It literally lays it out for you. And then if you decide you want to do it with me, then we could talk. But the free training is freaking epic. It is a very long free training, very
Yeah.
thorough free.
And I gotta say, I've followed you for so long, and I've definitely seen your evolution, and you're the real deal.
Thank
I
you.
mean, to see like where you came from to where you are now, you have walked the walk and talked the talk. And so Sophia knows exactly what she's doing. If you guys, and I'm going to have you on my podcast too. So we'll talk
Oh, I
about all the
can't wait.
things then as well. But, you definitely know what you're doing. And if you guys want to see some serious growth, then choose
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, I'm not playing around. Like in the last month, I had a client grow 50,000 followers on Instagram and get over 20 million views on one video. And this doesn't happen on accident. This happens with a very specific storytelling strategy and then having the offers in place to really sell and then the systems in place to grab those leads and then turn them into customers is vital because going viral can only take you so far. So please shoot me a DM if you have a large following and you're struggling to monetize it, or if you have a small following, but you're like, I know what I want to do, or I have a course and I just need help, Sophia. I'm happy to help you. Thank you for sharing those kind words about me because you knew me
Yes.
whenever I was still dating men and I was helping my
Yes.
ex with his business. That's how I found you. I was like, I need help with a contract. I think that's what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. It's been quite the evolution.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you so much. And Kay, who's watching, yes, DM me a rainbow emoji if you want to connect here. That's how you get into my broadcast channel. Awesome. And if you have any questions, guys, shoot them over to Natalie. Natalie, thank you for taking this time out of your day.
Thank
I know you're a busy
you.
mama, busy
Yeah.
entrepreneur. Thank you so much.
I appreciate
Have
it.
an amazing day,
You too.
friends. Bye.
Bye.
Congrats. Congratulations for listening to another episode of the Social Equity Podcast. Every moment you invest in building your brand is contributing to your social equity. If you're an exhausted coach or service provider, or you're just getting started building your brand from scratch, I can't wait to give you the first steps to go from 0 to 5K months and advance to 10 to 20K months. But why should you take my word for it? Well, I've spent over 9 years in the industry, amassing over 350,000 followers across platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as hosting a top charting podcast, building a successful service provider business, and coaching powerful women to build purposeful, profitable personal brands. So yeah, you should lean in and listen to the social media secrets, sales tips, marketing strategies, and mindset hacks I share. I want to help you build your dream business that makes real money, leveraging the power of a personal brand on social media. Because you're ready to quit wasting time on content that isn't working and start bringing in the money you deserve as a purpose-led coach or service provider, sharing your gifts with the world. So for a limited time, I'm giving away your first steps to go from 0 to 5K months and advance to 10K to 20K months. Grab my newly revamped Profitable Personal Brand Blueprint, the proven framework to build yourself a personal brand that motivates, inspires, and sells so that your business can thrive the way it should. Just go to the link in the show notes. To ask me questions in real time, join me on Instagram Live for the live podcast show. The schedule is always posted on my profile. My handle is @Sophia Spallino. And if you're tired of posting without a reliable strategy and posting without maximal profit, just like many of my clients were before, then you want to join the Profitable Personal Brand 6-month coaching program. Many of you asked how you can get me to coach you on building a profitable personal brand like the one I have. That's why I designed this coaching program, so you could have me coach you, guide you, and mentor you. This is for female coaches, service providers, and entrepreneurs who want to be known for purposeful work and build an extremely profitable personal brand on social media without wasting time. Whether you're a novice at creating or you're feeling stuck hitting a plateau in business that once had consistent revenue and need guidance, support, and coaching to get to your next level, book a strategy call to speak with either me or my team to see if we'd be the right fit to work with each other inside of the Profitable Personal Brand 6-month coaching program. Mind you, I am very selective and this coaching program is not for everyone because I'm only taking on serious, purpose-driven, and committed soul sisters inside of my community. If that's you, book your free strategy call now. The link is in the show notes. And if you feel yourself come alive and get excited to take radical responsibility for building your social equity, your personal brand that no one can take from you, leave a 5-star rating with a kind review wherever you listen to podcasts. And be sure to share the show with a powerful woman you know. And remember, with a positive mindset and a profitable personal brand, all things are possible. So go get up and go get what you want.